Hey everybody, welcome. My name is David Crawford and I am Floorball Guru. Today we're going to be talking about floorball in a presentation that I give when I go to talk to groups, presentation that I've done at conferences, both regionally and nationally. And the focus is really just to give you an understanding about what the sport is and then also how to incorporate that into your current programming. Now you don't have to look at me the whole time. We're going to be sharing my slide. We're using a Zoom right now, and those that are on, you can see that. Again, if you have any questions, by all means, feel free to ask. We look at the equipment. Again, we talked about the equipment, plastic blades, carbon fiber, fiberglass shafts. It really has a flex and a performance that floor hockey sticks just don't have. You can really put, again, the ball wherever you want it to go with force. When that ball hits you, definitely feel it. But it's not the end of the world. It stings, and if you're going against the top players in the world, you definitely feel, because they can just straight rip this ball, and that makes it really exciting, really fun, because it's such a fast-paced game. It's really tic-tac-toe through the defense and then even quick counterattacks going forward. So you're just in a constant flow of movement, and the sticks play a really big part of that. They're colorful. Sticks in general do a good design from the manufacturers on color, on just overall look and feel, texture. So when you give this to anybody, but specifically kids, they're automatically excited about it. It looks like something they want to get their hands on, they want to play. And because the sticks are shorter, they have to be in a lower body position, which allows them better control over the stick and the ball. They can keep it closer to them. It's lightweight, so they can have more control in being aware of how they have their stick. So when the rules of floorball do allow sticks to come above the waist, as long as you're not around other people, for the most part, when I'm teaching this sport, I'm focusing on keeping the sticks below the waist, which is really crucial, and then forcing them to touch the ball, which you can't touch the ball above the knees. So there's a couple different things that you have to think about when you're teaching, is how do we get kids to think about some of these basic rules and get them excited and get them playing and get them successful. Well, all of this is built into the sport right away, and it doesn't take long to get kids excited and get them up to speed on playing this sport and start to get creative. And that's one of the differences. A ball and a stick change versus a puck and a stick. The ball being lightweight, I can get underneath it. I can hit the top corner if I want to. I can just do this and that with it. It's just an easier pickup. Give a kid a stick and a ball, they're going to figure it out. And from that, we start to manage how they play that sport and how they kind of build forward from there to build an actual kind of gameplay and things like that. There's just so much to it. We look at goals. In general, we've talked a little bit about the ball, but we look at goals in floorball. Goals are 160 centimeters. That gives you an idea. A hockey goal is 180 centimeters, so it's a little bit smaller. They're very lightweight, easy to pick up. They can get moved and knocked around. They don't sit in a peg like a hockey goal. So the goalies you'll see, if you watch a game, goalies will kind of reach back and grab the goal to make sure it's on the end line, things like that. Goals, while these are great to have, it is not necessary. Like a lot of equipment that any sports has, I definitely encourage people to use what you have. If you've got pug soccer goals, use those. If you've got small goals, use those. I have multiple different size goals that I will use for my instruction, for programs, and for games. It will just depend on what I'm using based on what I'm trying to go for. When I'm playing intramurals at my university, they want big goals. So we put goalies and we just go at it. For my instructional programs in my leagues, I tend to use smaller goals that are about 2 feet off the ground. We don't have goalies per se. We mark off a zone for the goalie, and then people can't stand in that box. But it changes, again, accuracy, movement. It makes it a little bit harder for those that are shooting, so it kind of improves the overall gameplay. It's not as likely someone's going to be able to score from one end to the other on a smaller goal. It can happen depending on your size, but it gives us more options. And so I really encourage people to look at what you have out there and to get creative. I've used bow net soccer goals, and I've zip tied baseball nets to them in order to create a hockey goal that will collect the floor ball. Again, get creative with what you have. You don't have to go out and spend a ton of money on a lot of this stuff. Even if you don't have the storage space, things like that, you probably have something that's lying around that will work. Or in a pinch, use a milk crate. I've used milk crates in the past because that's what I had, or a garbage can that was empty. Get creative with it. Kids won't care. They've got the idea. That's the key. Floorball is played with a rink, these actual boards. The boards are about knee high for most people. Really, they're just there to designate the playing surface. They come in individual pieces, a full rink, which is 40 meters by 20 meters, or about 133 by 66 feet. They'll come in about 6 foot sections, and they're designed to break away. So some of them have different systems that are set up where they use a bungee system. Some are actually kind of clipped together, but they can break away. And really, it's just designed to create the playing surface. If you have boards, I highly recommend using them. They're great. If you don't, that is perfectly okay. Do not feel like you need to go out and spend that cost. Right now, for most people, floorball boards are going to run you anywhere from 6 to 8 grand plus shipping. There are a couple different options out there. Nice Rink, which uses a outdoor hockey rink system for hockey players and using ice in the wintertime. They use a great system. The difference with that in particular, while it works, the difference is that it is a male female together, so that it does not come apart. So it's not ideal from some of that standpoint, but it does work really well. And I use some of that as myself. I do have floorball boards, but I also will use that as well for different purposes. So there, and it is a lower cost option if you're looking for something to just kind of get you going, get you up. It does stack together really nicely. And that's the nice thing about floorball boards is they do all stack together. You can put them on a trolley and get them out of the way. They're lightweight. Anybody can pick them up and move them. And it really helps change people's perception of, oh, this is something we do in physical education classes to this is a full-fledged sport. This looks cool. I can tell you when I put my rink up at the university, it gets people excited. And we've shifted from just using the walls of the building to actually playing the rink, and that changed the feel, the flow of the sport across the board. So I highly recommend you figuring out some way to do that will definitely be important.